Hi, this is Mike Holly, and this is the second video blog that I've recorded. First of all, thanks to all of those comments from last week around lighting and sound, etc. Hopefully this is a much better offering, but let me just say that if you have any other ideas, just let me know in the way that you did last time, and I'll take them on board, so that's no problem. Good, so I was going to talk about production schedules this week, and specifically how to get books out quicker and how to streamline your writing process. But instead, another comment to last week's video, asked if I could do a backstory type episode, just explaining pretty much where I've come from, how I've ended up being here. So I thought possibly that's a good idea. It's a good way to start these things off, and for anyone joining in now, it's a good start. So here we go. Way back at college, I used to do theatre studies, and I loved theatre studies. I loved every aspect of it. I loved the acting part of it, but also I loved the writing part, the directing, the producing, the lighting, the set design. I loved all of it. I loved that creativity. And so probably in some other parallel universe at the moment, there's another version of me who carried on that road and found their way to being a writer a hell of a lot quicker than I actually did. Because instead of doing that and going down that road, which now in hindsight looks incredibly sensible, what I actually did was I went to university to study accountancy, obviously. And obviously it ended in tears. No, it wasn't. It wasn't all that bad, but I did spend 15 years as an accountant, and then by the end of it, though, I realised that it probably wasn't really where I wanted to be. And at the same time, fate would have it that I kind of rediscovered the love I had for writing. So I took my opportunity and I left that career and I started up as a writer, really, a full-time writer, and I thought I'm going to make a real good go of it, to which I did. At the same time, this was about 3.5 years ago, at the same time, self-publishing was pretty much just coming out in the UK. Traditional publishing was still there, and every bit of advice really that was around at the time was the same as it always had been. So it was a case of querying traditional publishers, traditional agents, trying to get a deal, and then moving on with that, in the same furrowed path. At the same time, traditional publishing had pretty much seized up, so the chances of actually signing a publishing deal were so slim that there wasn't really much of a decision to make. Anyway, that's pretty much how I've ended up where I am. In the meantime, I've produced 4 of my own books. I've helped 2 other people produce their books, and during that process, I have picked up quite a volume of knowledge, I suppose, which is the reason why I created the blog, in order to share it with other people, but also to just clarify it in my own mind, so that when I do it again, I know the ins and outs of it, and to hopefully streamline my own processes. So that's where I'm at now. The one thing that I genuinely do believe through all of this is that it's probably the best time in history to be a writer, and the only thing now stopping us from being a successful writer is our ability to commercialise what we write. It's always been the way, and it sounds very non-artistic to think of it in that way, but in order to be a successful writer, you must be a successful entrepreneur, and that's just the way it is. And the blog this video is all about how do we improve our business mind, to complement the writing side. And that's pretty much what we're doing here. Next week, I promise that I'm going to talk about production schedules, because that's really the start of it, and I'll go into why next week. So until then,